Creating this dish is very straightforward. I don't have a lot of experience with Korean food, so this was a new thing for me, and when I first tasted it, I was blown away. The amount of flavor in this dish, it really kind of shocked me how incredibly good this was. So it is something that has become part of my lexicon as well, something that I am now cooking for myself and my family that we have really found a passion for. It is a really fun recipe to make at home. So today our recipe is going to be bibimbap, a Korean rice-based bowl with a lot of vegetable toppings and a really savory chili-based sauce. We have all of our ingredients measured out, but we have a couple of things that we're going to be chopping and getting ready, making sure that we have all of our ingredients prepared before we start cooking. I have some tofu here, a block of firm tofu. So we'll cut it into a dice, maybe 3/4 of an inch or so. This is an Enoki mushroom, really fun little stringy type of mushroom. You don't want to chop these up, they're very tender mushrooms. Just pull them apart a little bit into bite-sized chunks, really. And then next we need to cut the carrot and zucchini. I'm going to julienne them, which is about 2 inches long, like that. Cut them into strips first, like this, or what we call planks. And then we turn the planks over on their edge and cut them again into 1/8 inch size. All right, there's our zucchini. We'll put that aside. Now it's not entirely necessary to peel a carrot. You don't have to take the skins off, but I find it's just a nicer presentation, so that's why I do it. It is actually more nutritious if you leave the skin on. There's a lot of mineral content that's just under the skin on vegetables, so if you want that extra nutritional punch to your veggies, don't take the skins off, just clean them really well, and then go ahead and use them in cooking. Trim off those ends first. Don't want that stuff showing up in the finished dish. All right, now it's time to start cooking our ingredients, and this is a really easy dish because you can cook each ingredient separately and cook it just to the right doneness. So we're gonna start with a very hot pan. We have a wok here, which would be traditional, but if you don't have one, that's okay too. A saute pan here would work just as well. I want to start by just putting a bit of oil into the pan to make sure that nothing sticks. Just enough to get that oil all the way up the sides of the pan and coating everything. And now we can go ahead and add our sliced shiitake mushrooms and enoki mushrooms that we had pulled apart. Just toss those a bit. We want to soften them up just slightly, get them cooking in our hot oil. I can already start to smell those mushrooms cooking. We want to see them releasing moisture and see some steam coming off of them. We want to try and heighten the flavor of these mushrooms just a bit. You know, wok cooking is pretty interesting because it uses a very small section that actually gets hot. And that's where you do most of your cooking. So be careful that you don't overload the pan with too many ingredients. All right, now I'm going to add mirin, which is a sweet rice-based seasoning ingredient that you can find in most grocery stores in the international cooking aisle. We'll pour that around the side. And a bit of tamari or regular soy sauce. Woo! We're hot enough. And if you can see that, the mushrooms now have a beautiful brown color to them. Absolutely gorgeous glazing that we're getting on top of them to make them look really savory. All right, there we go. Now our mushrooms are done, so we'll go ahead and pull those out and put them back into our bowl and set that aside. We'll move right on to the next ingredient. We have carrot. And really, as we're cooking these next vegetables, really just trying to heat them through. If your wok is hot enough and you get some browning on the outside of the veggies, that's awesome. A little bit of extra browning gives a lot more flavor and that beautiful color on the outside too that makes them look more appetizing. But if you have cut your vegetables small enough, this should only take maybe 30 seconds to a minute for each vegetable. We're just going to continue cooking each one of our vegetables this way, one at a time. Next, we'll wilt the spinach. This goes very quickly. A lot of spinach cooks down to a very small amount. It's pretty amazing. Every time I see it, I'm surprised. Wilt that in the bottom of the pan. As you're cooking each of these vegetables, you can either add a little bit more soy sauce or just a tiny bit of salt on each one. Be careful that you don't overdo it. I've definitely seen that. Just a little pinch of salt on them to season them is really all that it takes. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. Next, we'll heat the bean sprouts through. 30 seconds, a minute or so is about all it takes. Really just trying to get them warm. There we go. All right, next is the zucchini. Be careful as you're tossing these things. Get too aggressive and your vegetables will come apart. But just a gentle tossing. Oh, look at that. We're starting to get some browning on those right away. That looks great. Starting to smell like dinner in here. All right. And zucchini is done. Just enough to get it tender. So maybe pull it out slightly before it's done. And this is a corn that has already been pre-grilled, so it has some dark grill marks on it. But again, we just want to get that hot. There we go. All right, and the very last thing is our tofu. Now, traditionally, this would probably be a deep fried tofu piece, but we're going to do it just with a little bit of oil, and we're just going to essentially stir fry it. And we do this last because now, with all the other cooking that we have done, our pan is nice and seasoned, and that should prevent the tofu from sticking, at least very much. But traditionally, bibimbap is also served with a fried egg right on the top. We're gonna forego that this time, and we'll be using this tofu as our protein source instead. So this particular dish is going to be 100% vegetarian or vegan. Cook these on each side. Hopefully we can get a little bit of browning just to give them some extra flavor and that nice crispy exterior. And then the very last thing is we will season the tofu with sesame oil. And there we go. Tofu is done. All of our veggies have been cooked. We are ready to construct our bowl. So the key to a really good bibimbap is the sauce. So we'll start with gochujang and then add a little bit of sesame oil, mirin for sweetness, and some honey as well. There are different types of gochujang. Some of them can be quite thick. This is a little bit thick, so I'm just gonna add a touch of water to it, just enough to make it pourable. That is really all we have to do for this sauce. It's simply that easy. So now is the really fun part. We have all of our ingredients cooked and ready. Now we get to build the actual bowl. Now, certainly you can do this in the kitchen and then bring it out to your guests, or even more fun, make it a little bit of a buffet and let people build their own and make it unique for what they like. All right, with the rice in the bowl, now it's just a matter of adding each one of the toppings. And when adding the toppings, you want to keep them in individual piles. You want to be able to see each individual topping in its own space. Look at that, amazing color. Look at how beautiful that is. And then big heap of warm tofu right there in the center. The sauce, some people like to drizzle it across all of the toppings. I'll just glaze a little bit here on top of the tofu. Look at how pretty that looks with now the red color on it as well. So nice. The garnish for this dish is just a little bit of chopped seaweed with toasted sesame seeds, and that just goes right on the top. And there you go. This is a bibimbap bowl on rice with tofu and a wonderful savory chili sauce to go along with it. Enjoy.